Welcome to Inside Marketing with MarketSurge, your front row seat to the boldest ideas and smartest strategies in the marketing game. Your host is Reed Hansen, Chief Growth Officer at MarketSurge.
Hello and welcome back to Inside Marketing with MarketSurge. Today's guest knows exactly what it takes to turn raw footage into revenue, and he's done it for giants like eBay and Johnson & Johnson. I'm talking about David Feinman, co-founder and CEO of Viral Ideas, a productized video editing powerhouse that scaled storytelling from launching zombie obstacle races in college to building a seven-figure content machine with a global team and AI-driven workflows. David has cracked the code on creativity that converts very fast. He's also the host of the What It Takes podcast, an agency advisor, and apparently a 6-time Ironman, which is really cool. It means he can outrun most of us and outmarket us. So if you're ready to learn how to scale content without losing your soul and how to build a creative business that doesn't burn you out, you're going to love this episode. David, welcome to the podcast.
Great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here and talk to the MarketSurge audience. It's going to be great.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your approach. Found a quote from you. You said that great storytelling can be both artful and repeatable. What does that look like? What's your storytelling process? How do you draw that out of your clients and create those great stories?
Yeah, I think one of the number one challenges we get when working with people is, what do you say when a camera is in front of you? And how do you tell your story in a meaningful yet authentic way? So, Reed, I have sort of distilled this down into figuring out what is your container that you are going to put your content in, right? So if you're trying to tell a story and you're trying to make it interesting, try to find a format that works for you in the way that you live your life and go about your day. So, it might be like, for me, for example, I have a videographer come to my house every other week and record content with me. And that's my way of creating, because it helps me to co-create with another person there. I don't particularly love just like talking into my phone without another person on the other end of it. Another way you could create is like this with a podcast. It allows you to talk to someone, build content from there. So, how do you create and tell a story? Well, you need certain special ingredients, especially in this modern age. You need something to hook people in. You need something to keep them interested. And you need some sort of payoff at the end. So whenever you're structuring a story, you want to have those three things in mind so that someone is intrigued by your content and has some sort of payoff at the end. So really, it's just about kind of going about your day and figuring out ways to create inside the containers that you're able to build in your life.
That's really interesting. So now you've worked with a lot of different companies, a couple that came up, eBay, Johnson & Johnson. How do you help like a big company like that tell a very authentic, genuine sounding story, content that actually connects and doesn't seem like a big monolith? How do you do that?
Okay, so what's interesting is the larger companies get, sometimes they lose a bit about what made them special when they were smaller. And I think every company wants to make sure that their customers feel like they're dealing with humans on the other side. So what we've done really well, especially with a lot of the brands that we've worked with, like eBay, Johnson & Johnson, McKesson, especially what we've done with them, is really humanize their marketing through video. Because on the other side of the screen, watching those videos are humans that are connecting with other humans on the screen that we've created for them. And what we'll always try to do is try to tell the stories of the people that are involved in the companies. We'll try to tell, where they came from, what are they doing in the business, how does that business impact the greater good. And I think a lot of times when people are given the opportunity and companies are given the opportunity to share those stories in a more meaningful way, it creates connection with the end audience. So even at the highest level of Fortune 500 business, they are always trying to connect. If you look at some of the best Super Bowl commercials that everyone remembers, like for example, the Bud Light commercial with the horse, right? Everyone knows that. And you're connecting with that animal. You're connecting with the little golden retriever running alongside of it. You're forming that connection and bond with a brand that, actually it's Budweiser, I think, right? Not Budweiser brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Budweiser brand has that thing, and you're really connecting with the brand when you're watching something like that. So, when we're thinking about creating videos that, that need to share a message, it's really about just connecting with a person on the other side of the screen. It's not connecting with a demographic. It's not connecting with with some numbers, an age group. It's just connecting with another human being on the other side of the screen.
Interesting. So let's talk a little bit about your agency, Viral Ideas. Great name for an agency. And, you've described yourself as productized. Now, in the video world and the creative world, what does productized mean? What's your agency's general approach? What is working with you like?
So one of the main reasons I built this business was I was really frustrated with how confusing it is to purchase agency services. The way you do it, you have to reach out for a proposal, and then it's a whole back and forth for pricing. My philosophy is you should just treat it like it's an Amazon cart, because everyone likes to buy off of Amazon. We all do it probably once, twice, 3, 5, 7 times a week. And they make it so frictionless and painless. So what makes us different is you can go to our website, click a button, and get the exact service we want. Now, I think the issue with most agencies is they want to be everything to you, right? They want to, give you a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little bit of digital marketing services, a little bit of traditional media services, a little bit of paid, a little bit of content, a little bit of SEO. And most agencies cannot execute all of that in a way that is scalable and repeatable. And what's important about being scalable and repeatable is once you have a process, you can perfect it. Sort of like a manufacturer goes through a rigorous Six Sigma process to improve their business. I believe agencies should go through the same thing. So we've developed effectively products and SKUs on our website that are battle tested in the way that we do them. So if you go to our website, you buy a short form video, you buy a 20-hour a week plan. It's a process and it's a way of doing things. You're not buying something that's being put together in a custom package. You're just buying something that exists already that has been battle tested over and over again. Now we can mix and match. What we could do that's unique is like we could build your shopping cart, this product and pair it with this product, and make you almost a unique package. But the actual SKUs that we're offering you are not individually unique, right? They're a product that you're purchasing off our website. The work is still custom, but it's almost like buying something that is simple and repeatable for the client to understand and to know if it's going to fit in their budget in the first place.
That's great. I love it. And I agree. I have an agency myself, and it is confusing. I've noticed a phase where it's kind of like a get to know each other. They buy one small engagement and it's like, well, do we have trust? So we grow based on the trust that we build. What a great idea to just make it so productized like you do. That's fantastic. It sounds like you're doing some great work. We chit-chatted a little bit about AI before we started. Now, how do you blend AI into the mix of what you're doing for your clients? I know you have a lot of human editors and creators. What is the role of AI in the creative work you do?
So my philosophy is AI plus humans equals maximum results, right? Like AI, like any tool in the modern age, has given us a leverage point to be able to work, right? Like, so, for example, if you look at how people in the past used to plow their fields, they did it by hand with little rakes and, would come into the fields and plow that way. And then, they put that rake on the back of a donkey and had the donkey pull the rake. And then they put that rake on a mower and they plow it with a tractor, right? And now the tractor is robotic, right? So over time, technology has evolved to allow humans for the same amount of time to produce more productive output. And AI is just the next evolution of that productive output. We're now able to get out more because of AI. So the way we're looking at it at Viral is we're saying, okay, this year our goal is to have 20% of the editor's tasks be done with AI. So, whether that's administrative work, whether that's back-end logistics, whether that's actually editing parts of their videos with AI, like our goal is to do that. Next year it's 50%. So not to say we're going to replace the editor, but the editor is now going to be able to do 2 times as many videos for the same unit of time that they were before. So I just look at it as a force multiplier. You still need humans though, because you still need to add your little sprinkle. You still need to add your little 10% on top of it that, you need to add your taste in there. So I think people sometimes over rely on the tool and lose a bit of that human touch. So that's why it's humans plus AI, not just AI.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I want to talk about, let's go back to the name of your agency, Viral Ideas. And, when we're creating content of any kind, whether it's B2C, B2B, we'd love it to go viral in a positive way, not for some flub or something. But do you believe that virality is like an outcome, like a matter of taking enough shots, or is it something that can actually be engineered?
It's definitely something that could be engineered for sure. There is a formula for doing it, but there's also not a guarantee for it happening. What I'll talk to a lot of clients about is you want to go viral in the audience that you want to go viral with, right? So like if you're running paid ads, you want to do an ad that resonates with the audience of the client that you're working with. You don't necessarily need someone outside of that. But really what makes a good video is something that people want to watch to its completion. And the algorithm is going to reward you with more views if you create something that rewards something that allows people to watch to completion. So the best videos that I've ever made have been videos that have, 60 to 70% playthrough rate. And the clients that I have that do the best are the ones that really study the retention graph and let us know, hey, at, the 20% mark of your video, like, people dropped off and we need to figure out why, and we need to add something in there. And we need to go back to the formula of, in the beginning, you need a great hook that scratches an itch in someone's brain, that creates some sort of curiosity that won't be paid off till the end of the video. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to get people to watch for a longer period of time. It's the same reason why people binge watch Netflix, is because there's always a cliffhanger at the end of every episode that leads into the next episode, right? Or in the middle of the episode, there's something that they pick up a new plot line that doesn't get scratched until the next episode. That's why people are constantly binge watching a series of, 10, 20 videos on a weekend in Netflix for hours, and why someone might not want to watch your corporate video that's 35 seconds.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's a good approach. I noted in the introduction that you've done the Ironman several times, 6 times, and I've never done one of those. I've done a few marathons, and so I know from that process alone that that's a tremendous time investment. How do you manage, juggle all this training with running a business? I mean, are you just not sleeping at night, or a whiz with time allotment? How does that work?
Yeah, and I'm curious because marathon training is no joke either. So like, I want to talk to you a little bit about that one.
Sure.
Once I get done answering too.
Yeah.
For me, I have slowly started to work to buy back a lot of my time. I work with a coach. My coach is Dan Martell. He wrote the book Buy Back Your Time. He's a really amazing guy. And if you haven't read the book, it's basically a series and sequence at which you should take things off your plate from lowest value task to highest value task. So I have taken the approach of, in the beginning, I paid my ignorance tax in my business with dollars, and now I just pay it with dollars. So, if I need something done, something as simple as cleaning my house, I just have someone come clean my house. I don't do it myself. If I, my email, I don't really answer my email. I have an assistant that answers most of my emails because, it's not necessarily for me to do it. She does it better than me. So I've layered up and I've stacked stuff. So I am spending my time on the most high valued stuff and not trying to take on everything myself. But as far as Ironman training, it's a big time commitment and it's a big time suck for sure. So it's just about prioritizing your day and making sure everything fits in, but making sure the rest of your life also gets taken care of at the same time. But I think sleep is not something that should be sacrificed at all. A healthy 6 to 8 hours is really important.
Well, that's good. How many hours exactly are you training a week for your?
Right now, like this year, I have only done sprint tries.
Okay.
That's only like an hour a day of training.
Okay.
But for Ironman trainings, typically you're training between 10 to 18 hours a week at your peak. So, sometimes you're doing 2 a days, sometimes you're doing like long bike rides on the weekend. So, full and half distance are like definitely take you up there. How do you fit it all in with marathon training? Because I know that can also be like exhausting. Like you're like by the end of the week and after doing like a 20-mile run and a 10-mile run, that's like the grind.
Well, in full transparency, I've kind of picked up training again just this year. After like a 10-year gap, my last marathon was in 2014, and I've got like pain in my knees, and I'm finding that it's kind of hard to rebuild. So right now I'm training I'm doing about 20 miles a week total, and that's about 5 runs a week, and I mix in some cross training with I enjoy boxing classes. But
that's great.
Yeah, and I'm nowhere near where I was when I was young. I weighed like 130 pounds, and I could do it. But I'll just say I weigh more than 130 pounds today, and that makes it so much harder. So
knees and everything.
Yeah. Oh man, everything. Yeah, back, knees, feet, all that.
Well, one thing that's helped me, is particularly on the time side, is like I have a coach that trains me for Ironman.
Okay.
He's one of like the top Ironman guys in the country.
Awesome.
And he builds all my workouts for me. So I think a lot of times, like runners and endurance athletes spend a lot of time obsessing over what the workout they're going to do is.
Sure.
And like half of the time goes into like figuring out what's my next workout. When you have a coach, they just put the workout in an app and you just click play. Like you have the hour and you just go, okay. Like I'll wake up in the morning. I'm like, okay, I know I need to do a workout. I just look at the workout, see what it is, and go do it.
That's awesome.
So that helps a lot, like having someone in your corner that can like program you correctly, make sure that you're not over pushing or under pushing, and like keep you dialed in.
Now, done a great job managing your time, being productive, and doing so many things. You're obviously a very high achiever. How do you, with the many things that you're doing, and you've even got people, you've outsourced a lot of the tasks, the low value tasks in your life to others, and I don't mean to say low value, but like administrative tasks.
Sure.
How do you remain creative? I often picture creative as having a lot of unstructured time, where you, take some time to think and, connect thoughts. How do you stay creative? Like, how do you keep that creative muscle toned, so to speak?
It's a great question. I do it a lot almost every day for clients. I keep that creative muscle up a lot for clients. So as part of my day, like I'm creating on behalf of them, but also a lot of my thinking work comes in, I'll stack it with something else that I'm doing. So if I'm running or I'm lifting weights or I'm biking, that's my time to think and reflect. And if I come up with an idea, I'll just like pull out my phone real quick, give myself a voice note and, have my notes from that. And I recently started like every evening I leave my phone outside my bedroom and I spend some time like reading and meditating every night before I go to bed. And that gives me some time to think. So, at least the way I've sort of trained myself is I have time to create in the pockets that I've given myself to create, right? And that's my time and it becomes the forcing function of it versus like if I had an unstructured day, I don't know if I would be productive in the creation that I'm doing. So it is a different muscle, but I found positivity in putting it in like almost like a container, almost like, hey, this is where I'm going to create. This is where I'm going to spend time thinking. And it gives me the headspace to actually like sit down and work on a deeper project.
That's interesting. I don't consider myself a particularly creative person. And so I'm always fascinated by people that are and how they do it. Each person seems to be a little bit unique in their approach. I guess that's why it's original and different. So last question, when we're talking about video content, which I know is your field of expertise, what do you think are some changes we could look forward to in the next few years? AI is going to be more and more powerful and effective. There are changes on these platforms, social media and search engines. What do you see down the pipeline?
Biggest thing with content kind of moving into 2026 is going to be volume. So we used to, back when we started our business, we used to make 1 or 2 videos a year for clients. There would be a big video for the website. It would be a commercial. It would be something that they would run for the entire year. These days, because of the velocity of production and the capabilities and how things have changed, for some clients, we're making several hundred of them a week.
Oh.
So it is a huge change in velocity and volume in what is necessary to move the needle forward. Content is become almost like a disposable plate, right? Like you could only really use it once or twice. Not to say that it doesn't live forever, because it does, right? The good thing about content is it's a very leverageable thing. So if you do put it up, people have the opportunity to watch it over and over and over again. But people need so much more of it because there's so much more to share, and there's also so much more competition and share of voice. So, the platforms are sucking it up like it's oxygen. So, I think that's what you're going to see going into the next couple of years is just higher velocity of content and video content being used in all areas of marketing and business.
Well, that's definitely something to think about. I think you're right. And that does sound daunting based on what it takes to build a video. So that obviously we're going to be generating quite a bit in the future. Now, Dave, if somebody would like to work with you or Viral Ideas, where can they find you? Where are the best platforms to reach you?
So the best place to reach me is on Instagram. I have handle at David Feinman. And actually, if you reach out to me, I have a free gift for your audience. We've hired over a couple hundred video editors, and we built this huge guide for how to hire a video editor that doesn't suck. So if you're not ready to even like work with an agency and just want to like try it on your own for a little bit, feel free to like DM me MarketSurge. So I know you came from here, and I will send you over that free guide as a gift to your audience. So it's literally like we spent hundreds of hours making this. So it's like a huge piece of value. We'll be excited to share that with any of your audience members.
That is so generous of you. Thank you so much. Well, I'll make sure to include that in the show notes, and as well as link to your site. And this has been really interesting for me. I'm really grateful we connected and have made this podcast. Hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Love that, Reed. Thanks so much for having me.
Want to stay ahead of what's actually working in marketing right now? Head over to MarketSurge.io and see how we're helping businesses grow smarter, faster, and louder. That's MarketSurge.io, because your next breakthrough shouldn't be a guess.